The Usos banned from entering Canada for WWE SmackDown. WWE SmackDown flops and hits. Kevin Owens sends heartfelt message to Sami Zayn after SmackDown goes off the air. WWE veteran bashes WWE after Triple H's comments about making a big change to Raw. Drew McIntyre threatens Roman Reigns. Let's jump into our first story. WWE SmackDown flops and hits. WWE SmackDown delivered a decent show this week. We saw NXT superstars Jiggy Dolan and Jacy Jayne make their debut on the Blue brand tonight. The Toxic Attraction members defeated Natalya and Sonya Deville to book a spot for themselves in the SmackDown semi-finals of the ongoing WWE Women's Tag Team Championship tournament. Additionally, Ronda Rousey made a surprising return but was arrested and forced to leave the arena. However, the biggest highlight on the show was the vocal WWE fans in Montreal. They played a huge role in adding to the charm of the entire presentation. Here, we look at some of the biggest flops and hits from WWE SmackDown. So, without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. Hit on WWE SmackDown. Sami Zayn receives the best welcome in Montreal. Sami Zayn was one of the 5 top superstars who competed in an intense fatal 5-way match to determine the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. The match featured Baron Corbin, Sheamus, Ricochet, and Madcap Moss. But no superstar on tonight's show matched Sami Zayn's star power at the Blue brand's historic 1200th episode in Montreal. The crowd erupted with Sami chants as he made his entrance. WWE fans in attendance extended a memorable welcome to the former Intercontinental Champion, which effectively turned into one of the biggest nights of his career. Zayn reciprocated the appreciation with an excellent in-ring performance. Unfortunately, Zayn was seemingly injured during the match. This took him out of action for a while. He tried his best to pick up a fairytale victory but fell victim to the situation. However, Sheamus made the most of his opportunity and won the match to earn his shot at the Intercontinental Championship. He will now challenge Gunther for the title at Clash at the Castle. Number 2. Flop on WWE SmackDown. Hit Row Rap. Raps are fun. Hit Row are talented. While the two sentences could combine to describe some of their performances, tonight's segment certainly won't make the cut. The returning stars made their way to the ring while Max Dupree showed off his maximum male models. They stopped the fashion-driven stable's attempt at titillating the juices of the audience by attacking. That would have been enough to set the tone for Hit Row's first feud after their return, but they decided to make a statement by rapping. Now, it is a part of their gimmick, and they might have earned credit as rappers on multiple instances. But this week, they couldn't be too proud of their performances on WWE SmackDown, especially when the police car from Ronda Rousey's arrest segment had better bars. Number 3. Hit on WWE SmackDown. Drew McIntyre shuts Roman Reigns in the main event. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns finally came face-to-face on WWE SmackDown this week. The Tribal Chief wanted to deny the Scottish Warrior's claims about carrying the company, but the latter was determined to make a point. He went a step further and exposed Reigns' fear while standing across from his challenger without other Bloodline members in his corner. Their exchange led to a brawl, and Reigns made plans in advance. Earlier on the show, he was seen speaking with Sami Zayn backstage, and the latter proved a valuable ally when he sacrificed himself to save his Tribal Chief against a major blow. Unfortunately for them, McIntyre was not yet done, and he still managed to hit Reigns with a devastating Claymore, leaving the undisputed WWE Universal Champion rolling on the mat. The segment was brilliantly planned to help showcase Roman Reigns' vulnerability and Drew McIntyre's strength, establishing a mutually dominant dynamic ahead of their title match. The Scottish Warrior also spotted the hourglass in the locker room, which confirmed that Karrion Kross is still lurking in the dark, targeting both Reigns and McIntyre on WWE SmackDown. This title feud needed intensity ahead of Clash at the Castle, and it will now be interesting to see the potential twists in this storyline moving forward. Kevin Owens sends heartfelt message to Sami Zayn after SmackDown goes off the air. Sami Zayn had a great night on WWE SmackDown this week, but he had a bigger surprise awaiting him after the show went off the air. After the show went off the air, Raw superstars Kevin Owens and Riddle made their way to the ring. KO and Sami Zayn share a long history and are close friends in real life. Owens and Zayn hugged each other in the ring as the arena erupted with cheers for the well-liked duo. Riddle was just as excited as the fans and even tried to join in on the hug, but KO and Zayn shoved him away. KO then reportedly said that he is proud of Sami Zayn and hailed the latter as the reason why he is in WWE. Owens also said he is happy to see his friend get the credit he deserves. Zayn walked out to one of the biggest pops of 2022 as WWE fans in Montreal gave their hometown hero a warm welcome on SmackDown's 1200th episode. He competed in a fatal 5-way match for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship but fell victim to an injury he sustained during the intense bout. Earlier this week on Raw, Owens officially confirmed the return of the prizefighter. He cut a memorable promo during his action-packed segment with Drew McIntyre and confirmed his intentions to go after every title. He also mentioned how he has his eyes on the undisputed tag team championships, effectively teasing a potential reunion with Sami Zayn down the line. Fans are hoping to see him join forces with his real-life best friend, especially after the Usos started being disrespectful towards Zayn on SmackDown. Roman Reigns recently demanded Zayn win the Intercontinental Championship to add to the Bloodline's dominance. The latter failed to get a title shot, but proved his allegiance to the Tribal Chief later in the night. Zayn put himself in harm's way to help Reigns when the latter was all alone while standing across from Drew McIntyre. It remains to be seen if Roman Reigns and the Usos will continue to be associated with Sami Zayn on SmackDown, especially when he has no title. Would you like to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn reunite and challenge for the Tag Team Championships? Let us know in the comments section below. WWE veteran bashes WWE after Triple H's comments about making a big change to Raw. Former WWE head writer Vince Russo recently bashed the promotion for Raw being 3 hours after Triple H's comments resurfaced. A video recently resurfaced of Triple H from Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions podcast stated that he would prefer to bring WWE Raw back down to 2 hours from the current 3-hour format. The Red brand moved to being 3 hours long in July 2012 during the 1000th episode. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Vince Russo gave his take on Triple H's previous comments about cutting Raw back down to 2 hours. The former WWE head writer said he had no sympathy for the company because the third hour had been financially lucrative, despite hurting the product. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Triple H has come forward and said he wants Raw to go down to 2 hours. Guys, I'm not going to feel sorry for them that Raw is 3 hours. They bastardized their own product in order to take that paycheck for the extra hour. It's called greed and it's also called business, so that's why the show is 3 hours. They bastardized their show to get that extra hour paycheck. Russo also addressed why, in his opinion, WWE has found the third hour of Raw such a big issue for creative in the past. The former head writer said that WWE needed actual television writers doing the writing to be able to book a compelling 3-hour show. He felt that a wrestler could not write or format a 3-hour show in a way where the audience would stay hooked till the end. The problem is they don't have the writers to write a compelling 3-hour show. Just because you are a wrestler, it does not make you a television writer. Two completely different things. Ed Ferrara and I wrote 9 3-hour nitros, no problem bro. We had absolutely no problem because we're writers, and when we had a long cast of characters, it was not an issue for us. If you are not a writer and you don't know how to write a television show and format a television show, 3 hours is going to feel like an eternity. It remains to be seen whether the Red brand will eventually go back to being 2 hours now that the game is in charge of creative. Vince Russo recently slammed Triple H's booking after he took over creative from Vince McMahon, calling it more of the same. What do you make of Raw going back to 2 hours? Let us know in the comments section below. Drew McIntyre threatens Roman Reigns. Former WWE champion Drew McIntyre recently sent an ominous message to Roman Reigns following this week's episode of SmackDown. In the closing moments of the Friday night show, the Scottish Warrior and the Tribal Chief had a heated exchange in the build-up to their much-anticipated title match at Clash at the Castle. The two behemoths soon came to blows, with McIntyre ultimately standing tall after laying down Reigns and Sami Zayn, who came to the rescue of the Bloodline leader from the attack. A few moments later, Drew McIntyre took to Twitter to share a few snaps from his interaction with Roman Reigns and put out a warning for it. The 37-year-old performer subtly conveyed that he would soon end the Tribal Chief's record-setting run with the undisputed WWE Universal title at the September 3rd show. What is yours? Now is mine #SmackDown, tweeted Drew McIntyre. McIntyre and Roman Reigns earlier wrestled at WrestleMania 35 and Survivor Series 2020, with the latter coming on top on both occasions. It'll be interesting to see if luck is on the Scottish Warrior's side this time around. While most fans are rooting for McIntyre to come up victorious at Clash at the Castle 2022, Roman Reigns has a big numbers advantage going into the match. With the Usos and potentially even Sami Zayn on Reigns' side, it won't be an easy ride for the Scottish Warrior to capture the title. However, there's a slight danger for Reigns as well that could come into play during the show. Karrion Kross, alongside his wife Scarlett Bordeaux, have made their plans clear about targeting both Drew McIntyre and the Tribal Chief. As such, there's a chance the former NXT champion could get involved during the Universal title match and possibly cost Reigns the bout, either intentionally or accidentally. Do you think Drew McIntyre has a shot at dethroning Reigns from the top of the mountain in WWE? Sound off in the comments section below. The Usos banned from entering Canada for WWE SmackDown. The Usos have shown their reign of dominance in WWE everywhere lately, but they weren't reportedly cleared to do the same in Canada for SmackDown this week. Usually, Jimmy and Jay both appear on Raw and SmackDown but were absent from the latest episode of SmackDown taking place in Montreal, Canada. The undisputed tag team champions are always on Roman Reigns' side, but the Tribal Chief showed up by himself this week on the blue brand. It was hinted in a backstage segment with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns that Jimmy and Jay had some trouble at the border. While the reason for the Usos being absent is unconfirmed for now, it could be due to Canada's policy for individuals to have multiple DUIs. making it difficult for them to enter the country. Reigns, however, faced off against the Scottish Warrior himself ahead of their encounter at WWE Clash at the Castle. The exchange of words soured quickly as it turned into a brawl, with McIntyre getting the upper hand first and coming on top in the end, even with interference from Zayn. Roman Reigns and the Usos have dominated the WWE landscape, becoming the biggest faction in the company now. However, another faction is on the rise in the form of Judgment Day, making their presence felt each week over on Raw. The Wicked group has been featured heavily since their alignment, setting their sights on Edge, Dominic, and Rey Mysterio. With Judgment Day rising in popularity amongst fans, we're all left to wonder if the two factions will ever collide. In an interview with Liam Power of Sportskeeda Wrestling, Priest spoke of the possibility of his faction going up against the Bloodline. The Archer of Infamy stated that he would like that opportunity in the future but not anytime soon. That's something that we've talked about, Priest said. We'll get there. Yes, but we're very conscious of we need to get there. We can't just do it just because. I mean, you're talking about 3 people that are right now, and I'm in the company saying this. And I have no issue saying it because it's the truth. They're on another level that nobody else in the company is on. Would you like to see the Judgment Day face off against the Bloodline in WWE? Sound off below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you